Lay, 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 lay. Yay, lay, lay, lay. Yay, lay, 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 lay. Lay, 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 lay. Yay, lay, lay, lay.
You want the, I don't want to hear the sound on you.
Lay, 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 lay. Yay, lay, 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 yay, lay, lay, lay. Lay, 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 yay, lay, 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 lay. Lay, 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 yay, lay, lay, lay. Yay, lay, 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 yay, lay, lay, lay. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 yay, lay, 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 lay.
Shabbat Shalom. What a treat for me to be entering Shabbat with Rabbi Vogel and Cantor Stein, along with our Balat Tefillah, Amy Robinson Katz. We're a synagogue in Tustin in Orange County, and I have been to Temple Aliyah, and my classmate and friend, Stuart, Rabbi Vogel, gave me a tour just before quarantine. And so therefore, there's a fresh memory, and Cantor Stein has performed on more than one occasion at Congregation B'nai Israel. And in this, the week of anticipation of Purim, what a wonderful way to prepare, to unite ourselves across geography as a Jewish people, and to say that wherever we are focused, that is our holy space. Tonight, we're all focused together here to create the celebration of Shabbat. Baruchim habayim, blessed is your coming.
If you're davening with us with the Siddur, we're using Lev Shalem, and we're going to start out on page 11 with Psalm 95. Lechu neranena,
Lechu neranena,
Ladonai,
Ladonai,
Nariya,
Nariya,
Litzur Yishaynu,
Litzur Yishaynu,
Nekadma Fanav,
Nekadma Fanav,
Betoda,
Betoda,
Bizmirot,
Bizmirot,
Narialo,
Narialo. from our brothers and sisters at the Abiyai Daya. Lechu neranna l'Adonai nariya letzor yisheinu letzor yisheinu lechu neranna l'Adonai nariya letzor yisheinu. Nikadma fanav b'toda, bizmirot nariya lo. Nikadma fanav b'toda, bizmirot nariya lo. Lechu neranna l'Adonai nariya letzor yisheinu. Arba'im shana akut bedor va'omar am tohe levav heim. Arba'im shana akut bedor va'omar am tohe levav heim. Lechu neranna l'Adonai nariya letzor yisheinu. Letzor yisheinu.
Arba'im shana.
Arba'im shana.
Akut bedor.
Akut bedor.
Va'omar.
Ve'omar.
Ham to'ei levav heim.
Am to'ei levav heim.
Vehem lo yad'u.
Vehem lo yadu.
Derachai.
Derachai.
Asher nishbati vapi. Im yava'un el menuchati. We're going to move to Psalm 96, which is in page 13 of Liv Shalem, if you're following along with us. This melody comes from Kehilat Zion in Yerushalayim. Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, baruchu shemo, bazru miyom Yeshuato, Yeshuato. Sabru vagayim, kevodo, bechol ha'amim, nifleotav. Ki gadol Adonai, ומהולל מאוד נוראו על כל אלוהים. We're going to go to the last four lines. ידין עמים במישרים ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ ירם הים יעלו שדי בכל אשר בו אז ירננו כל הצייר לפני אדוני כי בא לשפוט הארץ ישפוט תבל בצדק ועמים באמונתו Ya na 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 na, ya na 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 ya na 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 na, ya na 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 na.
We'll continue with Psalm 29. We'll find it on page 21, and we'll exchange verses. I like that. מזמור לדוד. הבו לאדוני בני אלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז. איי איי איי, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני הדרת קודש. כל אדוני על המים אל הכבוד הרים.
אדוני על מים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, בשבר אדוני את ארזי הבנות, ביקידם כמו עגל.
לבנון וסיריון כמו בן רעמים, כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש. איי איי איי, אדוני יחיל מדבר, אדוני מדבר קדש. כל אדוני יכול אל היעלות, יכול אל היעלות.
ביחסוף אל ביערות ובהיכלו כולו אומר כבוד. אדוני למה בו ישב וישב, אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז מה ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. ינני ינני ינני
I don't know about anybody else, but I'm already having a great time. Oh my goodness. Rabbi Spitz, my old friend, it's so nice to share with you and with Amy. I'm just so grateful that you began this kind of endeavor, right, of inviting congregations to share with you and how we can not only get beyond our own services, right, that we have each and every week, but somehow to build community together, about building a world that we can build together, which is where we're going to end up at the end of the service, by the way, just a little force bite. So we're going to get into Lachadodi now. And you're going to be able to find it beginning on page 23. And if you know Lachadodi, you know the beginning words, Shamor v'Zachor b'dibur echad, right? That observe and remember were recited in one moment. And you may or may not know that, right, the Shamor and Zachor relate to the two different versions of the Ten Commandments. Right? Shamor, Zachor, which is in Exodus, the first time we hear them, and then Shamor in Deuteronomy, the second time we hear them. And so the question is asked, and I've never actually thought about this before, actually thinking about for this week, honestly. Why does it say Shamor first before Zachor? Never think about that? Why does it say Zachor and Shamor? Like, that's the order of the Ten Commandments, in terms of Exodus and then Deuteronomy. Shamor v'Zachor. So I found a couple of explanations. And one explanation, these are Kabbalistic traditions, by the way, trying to make sense of them. Says that Shamor refers to representing evening, Erev Shabbat, and that Zachor is the day of Shabbat. And then interesting, we begin by observing, and then we move into remember from the evening and then to the day. Another answer quotes Psalm 34. Some of you may know this beautiful song, right? Sur me'rav yaseh tov v'akeh shalom v'rev fehu. Turn from evil and do good. So what does that mean? First, you turn away from observing, right, which are the negative commandments, and then you turn towards remembering, Zachor, the positive commandments. Is that interesting? First turning away from negative and then towards positive, a very Kabbalistic tradition. So what do I make of it? I make of this that Shamor v'Zachor is telling us, first we have to do it. If you want to feel Shabbat, you got to do it. You got to light some candles. You got to bring some joy into your home. You've got to think about how are you going to do it, that then you're going to be able to feel it. It's going to become part of your soul. It doesn't just start there. You have to somehow bring it in by doing Shamor. Then we get to Zachor. So we're going to be joining together with the Lechadodi. We're going to begin page 23 with the first couple of stanzas. Then we're going to go to the final stanzas. If you want at the end to stand and to go find the door to open up and to welcome in that Shabbat bride, we welcome you to do that as well as we continue now page 23.
דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשמו תפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה
לך דודי לקראת קהלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תעריצי, על יד איש בן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בהלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה.
Woohoo! Canterstein, I was harmonizing with you. You couldn't hear me. I was on mute, but I was really singing with you on that one. We're going to continue with Psalm 92, which is on page 27. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. צדיק כתמר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עניינו פון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני, צורי ולא עוולת בו.
That was so beautiful. Oh my God. Wow. I guess, hold on, if I do this, you might be able to see what I'm playing is an oud. It's an instrument that is originally from the Middle East, and it is a 1,000-year precursor to the lute. But this one is electric. So Mikolot Mayim Rabim. This God, Mayim is mentioned. I just noticed it as I was listening to Psalm 29, that the water, and how important water was to a society that depended on rain. Mikolot Mayim Rabim, the very strong voice of the sea. Madirim Yishareyam, Mikolot Mayim Rabim, Adirim Yishareyam, Adir Bamarom Adonai, Adir Bamarom Adonai, Adir Bamarom Adonai, Adir Bamarom Adonai. Mikolot Mayim Rabim, Adirim Yishvereyam. Mikolot Mayim Rabim, Adirim Yishvereyam. Adir b'marom Adonai.
Oh, we lost the volume
lost
for
your
a
mic.
second. Haz, we got to put you back on unmute. Sorry. We had a technical issue there.
Oh.
No,
Was
no,
I
no.
unmuted?
It just happened. Just continue it. It was beautiful.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe the ocean got everything wet. Adir b'marom Adonai. Mayim.
That was beautiful. Oh, we do love when you play your different instruments. The Kaddish here, we have on the page 30, we're gonna allow people to recite. It's a moment of acknowledging the immediate losses to community. Rabbi Spitz, did you end up with any losses to your community this week?
Yes, sadly we did. So let me acknowledge a couple. First, I see that Ken Levin has joined us, and I know he is in the midst of Shiva for his mother. We extend condolences to Ken. We also extend condolence to Ann Jonas on the passing of her brother, Errol Udelman. Thank you.
And we have a couple of losses in our own community as well. In fact, we have on here as well Zisel Sansowitz, who mourns the passing of his cousin, Miriam Nish. And so condolences to Zisel and the family. And our community lost a luminary, Howard Clockman, who celebrated his 100th birthday on Shabbat this past week and then passed away just hours later. And it was, what a remarkable life, by the way. From the Ukraine to Warsaw, he fought in the War of Independence, Rabbi Spitz, freeing the city of Jerusalem.
Wow.
That's living history, and he used to share it with us on Shabbat, and well into his late 90s would walk with such strength and vigor, and he was such an inspiration. We mourn his passing as a community. For those of you who
Stuart, can I just add one more? You brought me to Israel in your description of your beloved congregant. I want to acknowledge that also Joe Susan of Congregation B'nai Israel lost his brother in Israel this week, Mati Ben Susan. Thank you.
Very nice. So for those who are reciting Kaddish, we invite you to rise. And in fact, you can unmute yourselves, and we will allow you to hear your voices.
Leave it over there.
Although maybe not for some. We'll, Amy, you'll help out if we're having feedback in some areas. But we'll love you to hear. We'll do it slowly together. The words of this Kaddish, we hope that the words give inspiration and give strength and comfort as the words go on the screen. And you're welcome to join. We go together. Yit Gadal,
Yikadav, Yikadash, May Rabba, Amen. Ramad,
Yamlich
Yamlech
Malchutei,
Machutei, Chayechon, Yomechon, Chayerechon, Beit Yisrael, Hagala, Vizman, Kari, Hebrew, Amen.
Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabba Tevara Elam Ame Amaya. Rehu.
Ela Mikol Birchata Shirata Mishpachata Nechamata Bamiran Biama Hebrew Yeshlam Rabba Mishmaya Hayim Aleinu Shema Yisrael Hebrew Amen Oseh Shalom B'Mama Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Yavol Yisrael
Put yourself back on mute, please. May the words give strength and inspiration. May the God in heaven who brings peace and harmony bring peace and harmony to our lives and to the world. And we say, Amen.
We continue with the Baruch Hu, and you're going to find that on page 39 in the Sidur. But we'll sing the Nigun that we started the evening with, which will go to the Baruch Hu. Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Baruch atah Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's divisions, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tzvaot is your name.
Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv ha'ravim.
Friday night is to experience love. We await the arrival of Shabbat, our bride, our queen. And now, because we've begun with the call to prayer by Cantor Stein, the bride is in our midst. But the love celebration continues. On page 40, Ahavat Olam is a description that God is the presence of love for the Jewish people who have given us the gift of Torah as a love letter. Ahavat Olam, where we express our gratitude for God's love, leads into the Shema with the reciprocity and the responsibility of expressing our love for God.
As we sing this melody, I'd just like to honor that it's just recently the 10th yard site of Debbie Friedman, who wrote so many amazing melodies for us, including this one.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amecha Ahavta Amecha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Hukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Otanu limadeta Alken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochveinu ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורה אלוהיך לעולם ועד, כי הם היינו באורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה ימם ולילה, נהגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
Again from the Abba Yudaya, which I've played with many times at your synagogue. What a joy. This is how they do the Shema in Uganda. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Echad. Shema, 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 Shema Yisrael. Shema, 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 Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Echad. Sing it with me. Shema, 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 Shema Yisrael. Shema, 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 Shema Yisrael. Yisrael.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך.
והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך.
וקשרתם לאהוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
Adonai Elohechem emet. Micha Mocha, we were going to find it on page 4344. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה. זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, ומי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. ונאמר דבר כיפדה אדוני את יעקב, וגלו מיד חזק ממנו, מיד חזק ממנו. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא תהילו עושה פלא, עושה פלא, עושה פלא. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We continue on page 45. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים ופרוסלנו סוכת שלומך. ותקננו בעצתו ומלפניך והושיענו למען שמך. והגן בעדנו והסר מעלינו אויב דבר וחרב ורעב ויגון והסר שטן מלפנינו ואחרינו. ובצל כנפיך תסתירנו כי אל שלומנו מצילנו אתה, כי אל מלכנו ברחום אתה. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם, ופרוס עלינו ברוך אתה אדוני הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Cantor-Stein, you need to unmute.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. איי 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 ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
It was beautiful. I'm just so moved. synthesis of the music together and their voices, Rabbi Spitz, probably more than you could have imagined, right? So when we bring such beauty together. We're preparing to enter into the Amidah itself. And I don't know about you, sometimes I struggle, not only with words, but sometimes with faith. And those words at the beginning of the Amidah, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagi Tilatecha, Adonai, open my lips, my mouth may proclaim your praise. The attempt by the rabbis to give this kavanah that somehow to articulate the unarticulable, to be able to, right? We call the ineffable name of God unpronounceable, but how do you bring up and how do you describe struggle and yet it's all inside. And so I found this beautiful poem by a woman, Stacy Zistuk Robinson. I don't think any relationship. I just want to share with you this beautiful poem, and I hope you'll take with it maybe just tonight as you think about these words are, and to live in that moment of finding, feeling uncertainty sometimes. And here it goes. I find God in my doubt, in the struggle to be the absolute best of me. And in my fear that I find only my worst. I struggle, I wrestle, and I am restless, and I wander rootless, exiled, barricaded by silence. God of hosts and light and mercy, God of the desert and unseen edges, God of my devotion and my rebellion, open my lips that I may declare your praise. We continue with the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויקדש שמי רבה, ויאמר דברי קירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דרכו בית ישראל, בגלה ובגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירה בעלמה ואמרו אמן.
Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Sfotai Tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Yagi. Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Na 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 Adonai, Adonai, Sotai Tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Yagi, Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha ועל כל יושבי תבל תשים לעולם כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. We continue with Kadesh Shalem, page 54. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בלמד דברי קירותי, והמליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיידכו בית ישראל, בגלה בזמן קריב במרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עמיה.
יתברך, יתברך ויתברך ויתפאר ותשומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה ושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותון ודהון לכל בית ישראל קודם ונשמע ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיו וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו amen.
Amen.
I think we're continuing with a mini drash.
A mini drash. But I too am in the groove of the flow of the music, and appropriately so. You know, when pilgrims would come to Jerusalem in order to bring an offering and come close to this experience of engagement with belonging to community and the holy experience of God's presence, there were 15 steps that were climbed, and you can visit those steps if you go to Jerusalem today. They have uncovered in the archaeological dig on top, right in front of the mosques, the huge steps, and each of those 15 steps had a separate psalm. For as people began to go up la'alot, physically, it was also music and psalms that elevated them. And when they reached the top, there was an orchestra. The Levites would sing. And it wasn't just on weekdays. Of the 150 psalms, only one of them is identified with the day of the week. That's Psalm 92 that we sang tonight, the Psalm of Shabbat. The rabbis would later appoint different days for different psalms, but the only one with the inscription of a day, Psalm 92. And here we're told, it is good to thank you, Adonai, to sing your name most high, to proclaim your love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night. Finger the lute, pluck the harp, let the sound of the lyre rise up. It is through song that we are elevated. It's not only the sound that goes up, but we go up. Which brings us to our Torah reading. The people were very elevated. They were standing at Mount Sinai and had a unique moment in religious history as self-identified in Jewish history, as the Bible recounts, as the people gathered as a community, shoulder to shoulder, after a sound and light show, there was Dolby put on to the sound, and then God's voice, hearing of the 10 Commandments, which left them with a dilemma in our Torah readings. How do you leave this moment of epiphany? How do you leave the presence of God? How, when you're so elevated, can you go forward? And so our Torah reading this week, Parshat Truma, says, V'asuli mikdash v'shachanti betocham. Craft for me a dwelling place, and I will be among you. And the rabbis emphasize that it doesn't say that God will dwell in this little portable tabernacle. It says, I will dwell among you. When you as a community create holy space, crafted to honor me, you will become a community by your joint efforts, and I will be among you. Some 33 years ago, I had the privilege to hear Rabbi Stuart Vogel, not yet rabbi, give his senior sermon. And he spoke about this parsha. He spoke about ways in which, see, it was that good a sermon that I still remember it. It's not on my laptop. That was before we had such opportunities. I have a hard copy in my file, in which Rabbi Vogel, for his senior sermon, talked about that tabernacle that was constructed and how it's related to our synagogue today. You see, to leave Mount Sinai, they need a portable Mount Sinai. It had 3 concentric circles. Only Moses went to the top, then the leaders, the priests at the base, and the people around the mountain. And so in the tabernacle, it was only the high priest who entered into the Holy of Holies, just like Moses had gone up. The priests were the only ones into the tabernacle itself, but the people, they gathered in the courtyard. And now I pause to acknowledge how wonderful it is for me to look at the participants, to see so many familiar names from Congregation B'nai Israel, and so many other names from Temple Aliyah, and to again just have this sense back to Mount Sinai of being shoulder to shoulder, experiencing a holy moment, of welcoming the Sabbath with such beautiful singing. And so in order to leave Mount Sinai, they needed a portable tabernacle, and that tabernacle then became later in Jerusalem the great temple, the first and the second temple. And that was the focus for Rabbi Vogel. After the temple was destroyed, how did that next phase occur? And what occurred was continuity and change. That when we are in our sacred space of our respective synagogues, and we look up above the ark and we see the Ner Tamid, the perpetual light, that reminds us of the temple's fire that burned perpetually. And when we open our ark, that reminds us of the Aron HaKodesh, the tabernacle that is described in the building of this Mishkan in which the 10 Commandments were stored. But for us, when we open that ark, we're both reminded of Mount Sinai and we're reminded of the Mishkan. And when we open the Torah and we put it on the shulchan, the table, that reminds us of how in the tabernacle and then later in the temple, how offerings were brought. And the rabbis will say that when we read about the offerings, when we open up the Torah on the shulchan, it's as if we are bringing the offerings in that moment as well. And so I have used that sermon, Rabbi Vogel, of yours through the years as my reminder of continuity and change, of how we as a people had this privilege of gathering and being at Mount Sinai, creating a Mishkan, creating a temple, and now creating our own holy spaces. Like this moment, here's a dramatic change. We are not identified tonight by our walls. We all are interconnected. It's such a treat as I look at the screen to be invited into your homes and for you to be in my home. We are connected by a shared focus. And a large part of that focus that we share in creating a holy gathering is the beautiful music. And so I too want to pay tribute to Debbie Friedman, that great contributor to holiness in our midst. She, by the way, is buried in Orange County at Harbor Lawn, and her headstone is shaped like a guitar. I called my teacher today, Rabbi Jack Reamer, who was the first to call me and say, you know, Debbie Friedman has moved to Orange County. Give her a call so you can befriend her. In fact, we had a date scheduled to walk our dogs on the beach, but she died the week before. Unfortunately, she died too young and too fast. But she managed to record 20 albums in her lifetime and to make such an impact. So I called my friend Rabbi Reamer in Florida and I said, what can you tell me about Debbie Friedman on her 10th yurtzeit I'm going to be sharing tonight? And he said, you know, before Debbie Friedman, non-Orthodox synagogues, if they had a musical instrument, it was the organ. And the organ was identified with awe. Often the organ was even literally in the loft. And when you would hear the organ, you would listen respectfully, quietly, passively. Debbie Friedman, he said, made her impact through camps with her guitar, with an instrument that called people to join her in song. And when those young people went back from that intense Jewish experience of summer camp, they wanted to keep singing. They wanted that guitar so that they too could have that musical guide and the sound and the beauty to join in voice. He said she transformed synagogues not just musically, but it was her guitar that led to participation in newfound ways. I called another friend to see if I could get a story from her. So I called my cantor friend, Shula Kalir Merton. And what she said of Debbie Friedman, who was her friend, is she had a distinctive quality of heart to know how to compose music that touched the heart, to create melodies. You know how many of the melodies that are second nature to us? The melodies we sing at Havdalah is a Debbie Friedman melody. The melody often used for Misha Berachs when we take the time to sing it. That too is a Debbie Friedman melody. She so often is part of our holy gatherings in ways that, frankly, many of us are even unaware, because music has wings. Music not only uplifts us, but when somebody writes a musical song and puts words to it, it has a life of its own. It then becomes its own. And so Debbie Friedman, 10 years later, continues to touch our heart, continues to elevate us. And we know from that Mishkan, all the roles and responsibilities will now be described. And the Levites, they were the singers, because you needed song, you needed even the instruments in order to go from regular space to holy space. Closing little story. A man comes to a rabbi and he says, Rabbi, if God is everywhere, I can pray to God anywhere. Why should I go to synagogue? Why should I gather with a siddur? And the rabbi said, yes, it's true. God is the same everywhere, but we are not. And so tonight, we have the privilege, with the beautiful singing and music and my sharing with my beloved friend, Rabbi Vogel, and with each other, to share focus, to share words that echo across generations and more, to share familiar musical notes and newfound musical chords and styles that eclectically remind us of how music elevates us toward Shabbat, how music elevates us into sacred space. And that space is, as in this moment, wherever we are focused together. Ribono Shalom, Master of the Universe, when we finish this service, may the sounds we have shared continue to resonate within us. And in doing so, may the holiness of Shabbat continue to be with us as elevated holy time. Amen.
Amen.
Amen, amen. So, Rabbi, do you remember that sermon?
I do, not as vividly apparently as my colleague and friend.
I'm going to photocopy you my copy.
Thank you.
We continue with Aleinu, and I think we're all supposed to stand, and we'll find it on page 56. Aleinu l'shaveach ladon hakol, latet gedula liyotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu כמשפחות האדמה שלא שם חלקנו כהם בגורלנו ככה המונם ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומי אמרו אלוהינו אינו אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת היום והשמותה אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד על כן נקבל לך ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמן והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
At this moment of Mourner's Kaddish, our two communities are going to remember the yortzites of their beloved. And with two communities, we're going to have some names. And because also we have Adar, only one Adar this year. I'm not sure about you, Rabbi Spitz, but our lists are a little bit long. But these people are remembered for the love and life that they shared. They continue to inspire us. On this Shabbat, Temple Aliyah community remembers the following: Dorothy Ehrman, Leah Friend, Estelle Goldshine, Claudia Grossman, Phyllis Hurwitz, Stephen Klinetsky, Eva Langsam, Ray Peck, Manuel Smolin, Jack Weiss, Jerome Bender, Jack Bilkis, Hilda Bresloff, Barry Gertler, Zella Waldman, Sam Weiler, Seymour Copeland, Abraham Gerber, Max Gitterman, Solomon Goldsmith, Michael Holden, Arnold Horland, Jack Hyman, Jeffrey Ingber, Tom Kahane, Stanley Nevitt, Edward L. Silken, Jerry Sucher, Teddy Weiss, Claire Gordon, Lena Levy, Solomon Levy, Edward Marcus, Eli Perlow, Max Cohen, Sigmund Freiberg, June Green, Michael Martin, Susie Rausch, Dora Rosenfeld, Ruth Saul, Etty Schachter, Alfred Skluth, Kitty Razel Tobias, Leonard Wolin, Eva Bell, Israel Babe Hellman, Betty Marco, Edward Marcus, Sarah Monkarsh, Howard F. Potter, Paul Pulver, Max Rosenberg, Elizabeth Rothstein, Herman Solomon, Herbert Appel, Anna Bramnick, Cy Brenner, Rosella Kaptal, Joan Conweiser, Ira Fleischman, Jack Fomalant, Martin Benjamin Goodman, Dora Ivar, Eli Mickey Kurz, Paul Mendelbaum, Renya Schwartz, Shirley Starkman, and B. Zolans. You're gonna, Rabbi Spitz, you'll want to unmute.
And from Congregation B'nai Israel, the Yurt sites this week: Jeanette Aronson, Rose Feldman-Bluestein, Daniel Rotglin, Dr. Musa Farivar, Harvey Cohen, Samuel Schreeman, Irvin Hamburger, Ethel Bernstein, Salvador Harari, Molly Kotkin, Judy Brown, Evelyn Block, Rose Skobelov, Isabel Noah Mice, Joseph Sabo, Geula Durlangel, Victor Zeev, Hyman Gershon, Muriel Fallman, Emmanuel Yeskel, Carmen Rachamim Khalili, Alvin Rosenberg, Sharon Gersden Sang, Marilyn Mott, Lil Jacobson, Rose David, and Jerome Gottlieb. I invite those observing a yurtside or in mourning to gather together, honoring our loved ones. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'izman kari v'imramei,
Amen. Hey, Rabba.
Rabba mevorach, leolam omei omaya. Yitorach v'yishabach v'yitma'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudsa b'risu le'ela min kol birchata v'shvirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bioma v'imruamei.
Amen.
Hey Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen Osei Shashur V'Imramav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'Kol Yisrael V'Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'imru Amen.
May I add one more name, please?
Yes.
Thank you. My nephew, Ron Schneiderman, Adar 9, the 9th of Adar. Thank you.
Thank you.
It has been, Rabbi Spitz, this honor and pleasure. It's hard to believe we started rabbinical school together in the moment, and it was just so, who would have imagined today that we would be in where we are, and just you've contributed so much in your congregation, and just so blessed to have you with us and to share our communities. We're going to conclude with a song by Debbie Friedman that I didn't know about, Amy Robinson, your Balat Tfilah, and I'm so pleased that you're going to share it with us, the idea of building this world together. And it talks, I think this is a moment, Rabbi Spitz, right, where we build the bridges. And I love that image of this being a sacred community that we share together. And holy, who would have thought we could define holy space as the internet, right? Like that you could actually meet there and in a holy moment. And we're building a better world together, through prayer, through community, through everything we do. And Kazan Stein and Avery Robinson, it's unbelievable to share with you, and just feel blessed to share. And there's other people, like I see many people from our communities, many, by the way, Rabbi Spitz, who aren't here on Shabbat, that came for your community and to share. And to Rabbi Funberg, who I see there as well from your community, who's become a new friend, and just so blessed to see her. So Are you going to take us home with Build a New World?
All right, let's do it. We hear the sound of peace, but it's different this time. We're gonna build this world together. It's the eternal cry of humankind. We're gonna build this world together. We hear the sound of hope and the sound of peace. A new day for a new generation. A new time, no beginning, no end. We're gonna build this world together. Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice. We're gonna build this world together. We'll sing a song of peace in a different voice. We're gonna build this world together. We hear the sound of hope and the sound of peace. A new day for a new generation. A new time, no beginning, no end. We're gonna build this world together. We must study and teach, exploring new ways. We're gonna build this world together, so the children will grow and be teachers one day. We're gonna build this world together. We hear the sound of hope and the sound of peace. A new day for a new generation. A new time, no beginning, no end. We're gonna build this world together. Build this world. Build this world together. Build this world. Build this world together. Each of us different and this makes us strong. We're gonna build this world together. We need every voice to sing this song. We're gonna build this world together. We hear the sound of hope and the sound of peace. A new day for a new generation. A new time, no beginning, no end. We're gonna build this world together. Build this world together. We're gonna build this world together. Kenner Stein.
We're gonna build this world together.
We're gonna build this world together. One more time.
We're gonna build this world together.
We're gonna build this world together. We're gonna build this world together.
Shabbat shalom to everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. What a treat to bring in